90% of hunters today walk into a gun shop and head straight for the rifles with names they have heard 100 times, paying premium money for a name on the box. The other 10% know something the crowd does not. They know one company has been quietly stuffing a $500 rifle with the same barrel blanks found on rifles costing 3 times as much. Look, this is not a knockoff brand. This is a calculated economics play. And today, we are counting down the 5 best affordable hunting rifles built on that exact strategy, starting at number 5. Sliding into number 5, we have got the Cascade Rimfire, a 22 long rifle trainer that mirrors its big brother piece for piece. This thing eats standard velocity rounds and digs deep on muscle memory. The bolt throw is short, the safety sits right where your thumb expects it, and the trigger breaks clean at 3 pounds, crisp as a fresh stick of gum cracking between your teeth. Here is the mechanic's insight. CVA ditched the proprietary magazine game entirely. This rifle runs on the same rotary 10-round magazine architecture as the Ruger 1022, a platform that has been on shelves for over 50 years. That means cheap mags, easy upgrades, and 0 headaches when something breaks. The barrel twist runs 1 in 16, tuned specifically to stabilize standard 40-grain rimfire bullets, and the muzzle comes threaded 1/2 inch by 28, right out of the box for a suppressor. Now, my only gripe here is a performance quirk. The extractor can get a little picky about which brass it wants to eject clean, especially before the magazine breaks in. It is not a deal breaker. Feed it quality ammo and it will run all day, but it is the one rough edge on an otherwise polished little trainer. Stepping into number 4, we have the Wolf V2, CVA's entry point into black powder hunting, and the cheapest rifle on this entire list. Street price is around $250 to $350, putting it well within reach of anybody just getting into the muzzleloader game. The polymer stock weighs next to nothing at 6.15 pounds, and the rifle runs a short 24-inch barrel that whips through brush without snagging on every branch in the tree line. Touch off a full charge, and the kick off that featherweight stock lands like a stern handshake, firm enough to remind you it is loaded, but nothing that rattles your fillings. Here is the mechanic's insight worth knowing. This rifle fires off a 209 shotgun primer for ignition, and that primer sits behind a patented quick-release breech plug. Older muzzleloaders force you to fight a carbon-caked steel plug with a wrench after every range session. This one backs out with 2 fingers, even after 20 rounds of fouling. That single design choice turns a miserable cleaning chore into something you can do standing in the truck bed. Now for the gripe. And this one falls into the value column. The Wolf often ships as a combo with a Konus scope bolted on top, and that glass has a reputation for losing 0 under recoil and loosening at the turrets. It is not the rifle's fault. The barrel itself shoots fine. But if you can find the bare rifle without the scope, take that deal every time and spend the savings on real glass. Around the campfire, this is simply known as the rifle that gets handed to a kid for his first season, and nobody ever has to apologize for it. Climbing into number 3, the field is thinning out, and the Optima V2 steps up as a serious hunter's tool, not just another box store black powder rifle. Sets you back $339 to $469, depending on finish, and for that money, you get a 26-inch fluted stainless barrel, shaving the total weight down to 6.65 pounds. Pull the trigger and it breaks with a flat, glassy snap. Nothing like the long, gritty drag you get out of a budget muzzleloader trigger. It feels closer to a tuned bolt gun than anything else in this price range. Here is the mechanic's insight. CVA swapped the trigger group for a neutral center of gravity design, which sounds like marketing fluff until you understand what it actually does. A standard trigger pivots off axis, so the bar drags sideways as it travels and you feel that drag as creep. A neutral center of gravity trigger pivots straight through its own balance point, so the bar moves with almost no lateral resistance. That is the difference between a trigger that surprises you and one that fights you on a cold morning with frozen fingers. Loaded up with a sabot bullet and pushed by a stout charge, this rifle is putting out around 1,400 feet per second, which lands with authority close to a 12-gauge rifled slug at 100 yards. I know some of you have already written this off as just another department store muzzleloader. Sound off below if you still think that after hearing those numbers. Now the gripe, and it lands back in performance quirk territory. Run the newer Blackhorn powder, and you cannot just dump it down the barrel like traditional black powder substitute. You need a dedicated breech plug for that specific chemistry, and you have to cut your charge by 20% to stay inside a safe pressure window. It is not difficult, but it is one more part to buy and one more rule to remember before you can unlock the best feature this rifle offers. Up at number 2, we are deep in elite territory now, and the Scout earns its spot through nothing but stubborn, old-school reliability. The damage to your wallet is anywhere from roughly $400 to $600 depending on caliber and finish, and what you get for that money is a break-action single-shot chambered in straight-wall cartridges like 350 Legend, 400 Legend, 450 Bushmaster, and 4570 Government. This rifle exists because deer hunters across the Midwest spent years locked out of centerfire bottleneck cartridges by state law, restricted to shotgun slugs and muzzle loaders, over concerns about how far a bottlenecked rifle round could travel past a miss. Straight-wall rounds solved that problem by dropping fast past 200 yards. Lawmakers opened the door, and CVA walked right through it with this rifle. Here is the mechanic's insight, and it is the real secret behind why this thing shoots so well for the price. There is no magazine well cut into the receiver, no gas system, no rotating bolt lugs working against the barrel. The barrel locks directly to the receiver in one solid union. That means the barrel vibrates the exact same way, shot after shot, every single time you pull the trigger. Consistent vibration is consistent accuracy, and that is something a lot of repeating rifles simply cannot match at this price. Snap the action open, and it breaks with a hard, mechanical clack, like a screen door slamming shut in a strong wind. There is nothing delicate about it, and that is the point. Now for the gripe, and this one sits in ergonomics. Strap a 450 Bushmaster into a rifle this light, and the recoil hits like an angry mule kicking a fence post, even with the rubber crush zone pad soaking up some of the blow. It is not unsafe, and your shoulder will survive a full day at the range. But if recoil bothers you, start with 350 Legend instead. This one earns its spot fair and square, but wait until you see what is sitting at number 1. It makes everything we just talked about look like a warm-up. And here it is, locked in at number 1, the Cascade. And there was never really any doubt this rifle was going to take the crown. You are looking at roughly $600 to $850, depending on caliber and finish, which sounds like real money until you see what is actually inside that price tag. This rifle feeds on 6.5 Creedmoor, slings 308 Win downrange, and eats 300 Win mag for breakfast, all out of a barrel forged at the same Spanish plant that builds for Bergara. Every single one of these rifles rolls off the line with a sub 1 minute of angle accuracy, guarantee from the factory, no exceptions, no fine print. Here is the mechanic's insight that separates this from everything else on the list. The bolt runs on 3 locking lugs with a 70-degree throw instead of the traditional 90. That shorter arc means your hand clears low-mounted optics without banging your knuckles, and it means you can run the bolt and get back on target faster between shots. The receiver also shares the exact same footprint as the Savage 110 Accu trigger system, which means this rifle taps into one of the largest aftermarket scope, base, and chassis markets in the entire industry. No hunting for rare proprietary parts, ever. Pull the trigger and it breaks like ice cracking on a frozen pond. Clean, sharp, completely gone before you expect it. Run the bolt and it is short and sharp. Nothing like the long sweeping arc you fight on an old Mauser pattern action. Now, here is where this earns the top spot over everything else on this list. It hands you the legal versatility of No. 2's straight wall platform, but wraps it in a repeating bolt action instead of a single shot. It delivers more raw stopping power and ballistic reach than No. 3's muzzleloader could ever touch past 100 yards. And it does all of that while costing barely more than a basic No. 4 combo kit, fully threaded and Cerakoted from the factory. Now, I have got no real complaints on this one, and manufacturing one just to fill a quota would be dishonest. The trigger is crisp, the barrel is proven, and the accuracy guarantee is real. If there is one caveat, it is this. If your idea of hunting gear is the lightest possible rifle you can carry up a mountain all day, the slightly heavier Cascade is not chasing that title. It is built for people who want one rifle that does everything well and does it for years. In the gun community, that is exactly the reputation it has earned, and it is the reason it sits at No. 1 today. So there you have it. 5 rifles that prove affordable does not have to mean compromised. From the trainer at No. 5 all the way up to the Cascade locking in the top spot, CVA built an entire lineup around one idea: spend the money where it actually matters, and skip the chrome where it does not. If you are walking into a gun shop this season, do not let the sticker price scare you off before you have actually shouldered one of these. Train hard, stay safe, and I will see you downrange.